Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the REDX podcast. My name is Haley Johnson. I'm going to be your host today. We have a wonderful return guest. We have Leisel L. Taylor with us. Welcome, Leisel.
Hi, Haley. Thank you for having me back. I'm excited,
Oh
right?
yeah, we're both so excited. I was talking about it's been a year since I last interviewed Lucille, so this is exciting. We're going to talk about some really important stuff. I think that is really pertinent to the time, the market right now, everything. It's going to be a really good conversation. We're talking about habits and routines and all of that good stuff to help you be successful. But before we get started, I just want to say a couple of things. If you aren't already subscribed, of course, you can subscribe wherever you're watching this right now, whether it's YouTube. But if you want email updates on whenever we have podcasts, you can go to redx.com/podcast and put your email in, and we'll email you every time we have a new episode. Very exciting stuff there. We also want to say if you are joining us live right now, I see a bunch of people chatting in. So thanks for that. This is a participatory event. So if you have any questions for Leisel while we're chatting here today, just chat them in wherever you're watching from and we will get those answered. We have her for the next 30 minutes. So take advantage of it. Ask any questions you may have as we get into our conversation today.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it.
Before we actually start our conversation,
Yeah.
I definitely want to encourage people to subscribe because these podcasts have so much valuable information and tips. Like I have my assistant, she actually just started with me about 4 months. She has learned so much on REDX that she's implementing into our business. Like she was calling me the other day about a podcast. She just looked at it and she's like, I'm going to be doing this. I'm like, okay, you don't get no argument from me. Knock yourself out. So definitely subscribe. Do everything Haley says. You will not regret it.
Oh, thanks, Lucille. I did not tell her to say that. So,
She did
like,
not.
amazing. Thank you for saying that. I agree. We bring on some of the best in the industry to teach agents how to be successful in
Mhm.
the current market and everything. And so, it's a really great resource if you want to see what people that are successful are doing
Mhm.
and implement into your business. So, thanks so much, Lucille.
Of course.
Why don't you give, if people don't know who you are that are tuning in right now, could you give us a little brief introduction into who you are?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Leisel Taylor, and I am based out of the Washington, D.C. market. Actually, my office is located in Lanham, Maryland, which is the suburbs of the D.C. area. I started off as an individual agent back in 2012. Because of the amount of business I had, I hired my husband. I'm definitely going to say that. I hired my husband and we started a team, the TaylorMade team, which we grew to about 15 agents in 2018. Our most successful year was 2020. I don't want to get the years wrong, 2021, where we did about 35 million in sales. And because of that, we then pivoted and decided to open our own brokerage, which is Village Premier Collection, Maryland. So, because of the rules in our area, I got fired from the team by my husband. I even got a whole letter, a termination letter, and everything, because you can't be a team leader and a broker in our area.
Mm.
So now I'm the managing broker for Village Premier Collection, Maryland, while my husband is now the team leader for the TaylorMade team. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
I love it. Awesome. Well, that is great because you know what's working right now and what's not. And I think this is going to be a great conversation. We're talking about, like I said, habits and routines. So
Mhm.
I wanna ask you, we can get started. I think one of the biggest things when agents aren't producing what they want to be producing or they're having a hard time in real estate, it's often down to their daily habits, right? What they're
Yeah.
doing every single day. So why don't we start there? Let's talk about habits, why are they so important, and why we are focusing on it today.
Yeah, well, the one thing I definitely want to stress is that real estate agents, especially the newbies who are coming into the market, they
Yes.
don't realize that prospecting and your daily routine is like, I would say 95% of your business. It's a crucial role
Mm,
because these habits and routines that you practice on a daily basis will definitely decide and determine what your future success is going to be in business, right?
mm,
And one of the things I want to start, I mean, of course, I'll dig deeper.
yeah.
One thing I want to point out to all those realtors who are currently on this call, you will know how successful you are right now by looking at your calendar. Look at your calendar. No, I'm serious. Look at your calendar.
I love that.
You love that, right? If
Yeah.
you don't have your day time blocked to what you do in the morning, what you do in the afternoon, what you do in the evening, if you don't see your appointments, you don't see listing appointments, buyer's appointments, basically, if your calendar is blank, guess what? In my opinion, in my humblest opinion, that's what your bank account is going to look like.
Mm,
So, yep. So my mindset has always been my calendar basically reflects my bank account and what it's going to look like in the future. And I know
mm.
some people are going to be like, huh? What? What is she talking about? Haley's like, huh? I like this.
Well, I like it because like your calendar, I mean, a lot of people I've heard agents say where they block out like an hour or two for just lead generation or
Hmm.
prospecting, right?
Hmm.
And they treat it like an appointment.
Hmm.
And if it's on their calendar, then you can't then they're not available,
Hmm.
right? And so if you have like all of these blocked times, you have appointments in your calendar, then obviously that is telling you, "Oh, I've got business. I'm doing well." But if
Hmm.
it's empty, what are you doing?
What are you doing? And it comes back to my original point. If your calendar is empty, so will your bank account be, right?
Mhm.
So it starts off with just taking little steps every day. Because, of course, before you time block, you have to definitely sit down and determine what your short term goals are and what your long term goals are. And then you kind of build your prospecting and your daily routines around that.
Mm.
So what I'm saying is, for me, I take small steps every day to accomplish a huge goal. So for example, I have my calendar, it is time blocked, even to the point where my assistant knows do not contact me until after 11 o'clock. Because for me, 9 to 11, that is sacred money making time.
Mm.
And she even has the mindset that if my boss is not prospecting or doing lead generation around this time, my job is in jeopardy because I, I mean, this is real talk. We're laughing, right? But it's true.
Right.
If I'm not making calls between 9 to 11 to get new business, she basically knows her job is in jeopardy because basically she eats off of the type of business that I bring in.
Right.
And even before that, before 9, I've time blocked my time for my family because I'm also a wife, I'm a mother, I have a teenager. He
Whew.
just turned 13, so yay.
That's a fun age.
It's a fun age. So school starts on Monday. I'm not sure if it's like that in Texas.
Mm.
So I know on Monday my routine is going to be a little bit shaken up because it's the first day of school. He's actually going to a new school. So I have to build in time for the fact that I'm going to be going to school, helping him get situated so he won't be nervous. So my Monday schedule is going to be jacked up a little bit. But what I'm going to do differently is, even though my regularly scheduled prospecting time is from 9 to 11. I'm actually going to move that block to later on in the evening where I intend to prospect for business from 5 to 7. So even though it's not happening during my regularly scheduled time, I'm still going to
Mm.
adjust my schedule to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to generate or just follow up on business that I already have. All
Mm.
right. I hope this is great information that I'm sharing so far.
Yeah, I like it. And I like it because I mean you're talking a little bit about priorities too, where of course
Mhm.
family is always going to be first,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so you have to build in time for that. Because
Yeah.
I think especially in real estate your time can be taken up really really quickly
And
by things, just everything and other people that need your time and stuff like that.
mhm.
And so if you're not blocking out time for your family, it
Mhm.
won't happen. If you're not blocking out time for lead generation, it won't happen. So I like that not only are you like blocking out this time, but you're also like looking at your priorities and making sure the most important things happen
Yeah.
for sure. So,
And that just came back from years of experience because when I first
yeah.
started, I worked crazy hours. And it was actually when I hired my first coach, he was like, "What kind of life do you have?" And I was like, I didn't have a life when I first started, to be very honest and
Mm,
transparent. So time blocking and building these daily routines has really helped, right?
Yeah.
And I know one of the questions that may come up is like, what does my typical day look like?
Yeah.
Okay, I am not a super agent. There's some agents who get up at 5 a.m. every morning.
That's not me.
That's not me. That is my husband through and through. He gets up 5 o'clock every morning.
Mm,
That's not me. I typically get up around 6:30 and I work out because that's like my time to myself because my husband is working out doing his thing and my
mm,
son is still asleep. So I work out, I eat my breakfast. I'll get him ready for school, but of course we had a little break because it's summer and his school doesn't start till Monday.
mm.
And I do everything. I have my little me time and, of course, time with my son until it's time to start my prospecting time at 9. And when I actually do prospecting, I've created a little bunker in that I have my office. I close the doors. I put a sign on the door, do not disturb. And I get to work on the phones. And I really try to block out as much distractions as possible, including even putting the do not disturb on my phone because I get
Mm.
easily distracted. That's me. I'm so easily distracted. So I try to take away as much distraction as possible. Um, and the reason being, I also have a song that I play in my head while I'm prospecting, which kind of makes it fun. Um,
Yeah.
those 20 contacts a day keeps the bill collectors away.
I love
He's
it.
laughing at me, Haley. I'm serious. And you see, I rattled. I'm like, 20 contacts a day keeps the bill collectors away. You
I
know,
love it though. I mean, it's effective, I'm sure, right?
it does because the bill collectors don't call because I'm making sure I'm doing those 20 contacts a day.
Right. I love it. Whatever
I
works,
can't believe
works.
I can't believe you're laughing at me.
I'm not laughing. I mean, the fact that you have a little song is like it actually is amazing because so many people, I think these little things that help you and motivate you are so important.
Yeah.
And no matter what it sounds like, if it's a little jingle that you put in your head or whatever it is, that's what's going to help you actually get on the phones and actually prospect. And that's the thing I was going to mention too is your little morning routine where you get up and you work out and you eat breakfast and you have this specific schedule because also having a morning routine like that is really important to set you up for your lead generation and set you
It
up for the time that you are going to be working for your
is.
business. And so I think that's really crucial because if you were just rolling out of bed and then
Mhm.
stumbling over on like getting on the phone and being like, it just wouldn't be as successful, right? So like I'm not laughing, I'm just I think it's great
I'm
because
teasing.
it's
But what
great.
But the reason I had to do that as well is because we all have clients, right? And our clients want us to be attentive to them, right? So
Yeah.
if I didn't set up these parameters for myself, I would be all over the place with my clients and, just dropping, my lead generation time, my me time, or even time with my
Yeah.
son in the morning to deal with them. Perfect example. I just started working with a new buyer who's spending 800,000, right?
Mm.
Love her to death. She's one of my favorite clients. But initially, when we first started working, she was texting me at like 6:30 in the morning about seeing houses.
Oh.
So what happened was I ignored the text. I'll be honest, I did ignore the text until 11:05 when I was done with my lead generation. And she was like, "Well, I texted you at 6:30 in the morning." And I told her, I said, "Well, in the morning I have my son and I get him ready." And then I said I have scheduled appointments from 9 to 11 every day. I also didn't make her feel bad. I said, "I appreciate your text and please text me at any time, but do understand I may not respond to you until after 11." And she's fine with that. She didn't have a problem. She said she appreciates that, I set the tone for our relationship so she knows moving forward that I wouldn't respond to her until after 11 unless it's some type of emergency. And if
Mm.
it's an emergency like the house is burning down, the most I'm going to tell you is to call 911. I mean, what
Right?
are you going to do?
Let me just hop on over real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think when you really enforce protecting your schedule in your daily routines, you will tend to set boundaries with your clients and, just start letting them know that you don't have to tell them you're lead generating or prospecting. That's none of your business. But you could just tell them, you have scheduled appointment times or
Mm.
whatever it is you want to say that you can't miss. And they will definitely understand and respect it. but please call them back right after you're done. Because if you're telling them you'll call after 11, oh, they're waiting for a call. They're looking at the clock.
Yep.
Okay, it's 11:02. You haven't called me back.
No, that's true. I think also boundaries can often be a scary word in real estate.
Hmm.
And it's really important because that's what like makes people hate the job, right? They're just
Yeah,
constantly on their phone, or people are constantly calling or texting, and they feel like almost like a slave to like everybody else, right? And so I think having those boundaries, I feel like people mostly are really good and will be like, oh, yeah, makes sense. You have
yeah,
a son. I'm not going to be like, yeah, you should put me in front of your son. Right.
yeah.
And so if you set those boundaries in the beginning, it's when you don't set those boundaries that later it becomes an issue. Right. Like, oh, well, you answering the phone at all times of the day is going to teach them that they can just call at all times of the day. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And it also teaches people to respect your time. And I think what helped too is she's a mother of three kids. So she was
Oh,
like,
for sure.
oh, so I didn't tell her, I said, you can text me whenever you want, but you won't get a response. I'm not going to tell her don't text me because she may have something she want to get out of her mind. And then once I'm done with my lead generation, I can definitely respond to her.
Mm,
So, I said, you can text me or call, but just know I won't be able to respond to you until after 11. And
right.
they're fine with that because I'm not telling her, no, don't do it. Right. I'm just letting you know when I'm going to respond to you. Right. So,
Right.
all right. And definitely another thing I want to bring up with setting boundaries,
Yeah.
also in building out my daily routine, even though I mentioned my lead generation time, I definitely want to be clear. So from 9 to 11 is the time I've blocked out for prospecting. What
Hmm.
I will say is my business is mostly built on expireds. And you guys know how calling expireds are so awesome, right? They're the best calls. They're the nicest people. They're so sweet to you on the phone, right? So for me, my limit is an hour. So 9 to 10, that's when I call expired because I want to get them out the way. I cut it off at 10 because after being hung up on or
Mm.
being told, please don't call me no more, or some other choice words, I can only take so much, right? To get to that one.
Amen.
Yeah, to get to that one call who's like, sure, come on over. I want to meet with you, whatever, whatever. So I
Right.
was just saying that to say, as part of my daily routine, 9 to 10, I'm calling those expired leads. And then 10 to 11, I'm calling referrals
Mm.
because I want to turn I want to have a nice day. So I'm calling those referrals from my clients or lenders or vendors. And then I'm also making sure I'm doing follow up calls because I think that's where a lot of us agents drop the ball is we don't do the follow up. And of course, I have another jingle from my previous brokerage, which is,
Yay!
yeah, the money's in the follow up, right? The money's
Yes.
definitely in the follow up. And I don't think people realize how important this is, the follow up. In fact, I had
Yeah.
to prove to, when I was on the team, I had to prove to one of my team members, there was a listing I had back in, I would say October 2022 ish. And it was a $900,000 listing. And I had to tell the team I was following up with this lead for 5 years. It took me 5 years to get that $900,000 list.
Let's go.
Yes. And she even said that. She said she had so many agents that called her in the beginning. She said, especially the first year. Then the
Mm.
second year, it was only like 3 to 4. And then year 3, it was just 2. And then year 4 and 5, guess who was left in the race from still calling and following up? Me.
Yes.
So people need to stop paying attention to the low hanging fruit. Of course, if you have low hanging fruit and they're ready to go, great, grab
Yeah.
it. But always make sure you're keeping that future business.
Mm.
And the reason I was able to do that is because I had that time built in my lead generation time. And of course, my CRM. I don't want you guys to think I have an amazing memory. I use a CRM that keeps me on track. And I have
Yes.
an amazing EA who holds me accountable to calling people. So I do have the proper systems and support to make sure I'm following up with those leads who I know are going to eventually going to list,
Mm.
if not in the next 30 days, but definitely within the next 2 to 3 years. So
Yeah. And I like that too. I mean, having a good CRM, it kind of makes it pretty simple, right? You
Uh-huh.
get notifications of like, oh, it's time to call this person or it's time to reach out to this person, right? And then you do, and then it just generates, and it systematizes your
Yeah.
business to where, like, if you were having to constantly remember, is it this person's birthday, or did they close on their house this time, or like, no one can do that. That's impossible.
No.
And I know a lot of people will just like use their phone, but if you use a CRM that is designated for real estate to help
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
generate business, it just makes it so much easier,
It
right?
does. And even funny story, the buyer that I'm working with now, the one I told you about, the 6:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
funny story. She was actually a divorce situation, right?
Mm.
And I sold their beautiful and amazing home. And at the closing table, she actually looked at me and she said, I want you to know that you did an amazing job on the sale of my home, but I will never use you again because you're going to remind me of my divorce. And I was like, I didn't know. I mean, I understand what she said, but it still stung a little bit that I had nothing
Like,
to do.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But no, I'm bringing up this point to say that to piggyback off the point of a CRM.
Mm.
So my transaction coordinator, of course, closing out sales, and one of my transaction coordinator's role is she always makes sure she gets the birthdays for all of our clients, right? So she input the birthday for this client, and the reason she worked with me is because my CRM, I mean, technically me, sent her a happy birthday card and followed up with happy birthday. Thank you for your business. I appreciate you. She called me the next day and told me she was sorry. And the fact that she told me that and I still sent her a happy birthday card, if you're not using a CRM,
Mm.
you,
I love that.
you are not you. My CRM made this woman come back and work with me after she told me that she won't work with me because I will remind her of her divorce. If that's not the power of a CRM, right?
I love that. And just for like a simple happy birthday message,
A happy
it's
birthday message.
and it's so easy to miss those or forget those or just
Mhm.
not. I mean, it's just simple, and you just have to do the simple things, and things like that will happen, but also people that do like want to do business with you in the future, right? Just
Mhm.
keeps you top of mind. And it's crazy that agents don't do that, because it's just that is how you build a long-term business. And
That
I like how you said, like, don't only focus on the low-hanging fruit. Like, the low-hanging fruit's important, right? Because you
yes,
say that you call expireds, and that's low-hanging fruit. But if you are only doing that, your business isn't going to last forever,
like
right?
that.
So you got to that's the point of calling expireds, is you get people into your database, and
Mhm.
then whenever they're wanting to sell their home in the future, or they want to resell or anything like that, then you're top of mind. So I
Yeah,
love that.
definitely. Yeah, birthdays. We do birthdays, anniversaries. I even well for her, I didn't do it, but I usually send a video message saying happy birthday with a sign with their
Mm.
name, so it's directed to
I
them.
love that.
Yeah, I have a where is oh, I don't have the board here, but it has their name and I'm like, "Hey, happy birthday." Just want but for her, I'm not gonna lie. I was scared since she told me she'll never use me again. So I said I'll just opt for the system generated birthday
Right.
card text message.
It worked.
It worked. So I was just bringing up that point to
Yeah.
because I'm sure there are a few agents on here who still have not invested in a CRM.
Mm.
And I know one of the questions we get asked is, what is the CRM? What is the best CRM to use?
Yeah.
The one that you're actually going to use is the best CRM to
I
use.
love that.
Right. So, and one more thing before we wrap up, because oh my gosh,
Yeah.
30 minutes flew by. Is
I know.
I know, right? I want to definitely bring up the point of consistency in your daily
Yes.
routine and habits. Because I think that's one of the challenges we as agents have. I'm guilty of it. I'm not going to lie to you. The only thing that helps me keep being on track with consistency is that 20 contacts a day keeps the bill collectors away. Because to be very transparent, prior to my success in real estate, my husband and I were broke and we got calls from bill collectors. And
Mm.
if you haven't gotten calls from bill collectors, you are blessed. And that's why I came up with that jingle because I promised myself that I don't ever want to go back to that life. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of backstory to why I have my little jingle 20 contacts a day keeps the bill collectors away. And that's what helped me stay focused and consistent in my business.
Mm.
Because not every day you're going to set an appointment. I mean, the intent is to set an appointment every day, but at least it builds that muscle memory so that
Right.
when you don't prospect or lead generate or stick to your routine, you kind of feel off for the rest of the day. At least that's what happens with me. I feel like I'm just off for the day.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find my way back, but I realize it's just because I didn't stick to the things that helped me be successful. My lead generating, making time with my son, exercising, doing a little meditation. So definitely strive to be consistent. And if you have to make up a little jingle, think of a pain point because bill collectors are a pain point for me. And
Yeah.
that's what definitely helps. So I definitely want to talk about being consistent in your daily habits and your
Mm.
routines.
Yeah, and you talk about like finding a motivation,
Yeah.
right? Like I hear a lot of people say like find your why or that's kind of what you have to go back to when you don't feel like prospecting or you don't feel like picking up the phone or whatever is like your jingle, it reminds you of a time that you want to make sure that you don't go back to,
Mhm.
right? And so I like that having I've heard of a lot of people also like will put pictures in front of their office or whatever that
Mhm.
reminds them of why they're doing it because I
Yeah.
think just having that mindset is so important to actually like you said stay consistent
Mhm.
because I think if everyone was consistent we'd all be millionaires
Oh,
and it
hell
would be
yeah.
you know.
Oh, hell yes. That is absolutely true. If we all were consistent, like I said, I'm not gonna act like I'm the best consistent person because I'm not. I have days that I'm gonna fall off. Like I already know, like I said, Monday is gonna be one of those days because it's the first day of school. My
Yeah.
kid's going to a new school. I want to meet his teachers. I want to see if there's any cute girls checking out my teenager. You know what I mean?
I love it.
But but I do know that Tuesday I'll be back on track. And
Mm,
instead of the 20 contacts, even though I do plan to prospect in the evening, I may double up the next day and do 40 contacts because my motivation is I want to keep those bill collectors away. You know
right.
what I mean? And then another thing I've noticed is the days when I don't want to prospect and I motivate myself to prospect, those are the days I set 2 appointments. So
Yeah.
that's another thing I have.
Crazy
Like,
how that works.
so I just want to throw out some tips for you agents. So those days you wake
Yeah.
up and you don't want to hit the phone. You are going to definitely set an appointment that day. Trust me, it happens all the time. So now
Mm.
I'm starting, I want to make myself feel like not prospecting because I want to get an appointment.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not feeling it today.
Feeling it today. I don't want to work. So but yeah, for me, what works is 20 contacts a day keeps the bill collectors away, and the money is always going to be in the follow ups. If you guys take
Mm.
nothing away, please feel free to reuse my jingle. It's free. I'm giving it away today. So,
I love it.
did we have any questions on the chat or?
We just had a lot of people saying Bridget said, I love it.
I
And Ty said, I always say that about your calendar and pipelines. Amazing. So people are just loving it. So if we have, oh, we're out of time. So we can't even,
Oh,
but I know. Geez, that went by so fast.
it does.
But if they do have questions, is there a place that they can reach you or find you?
Definitely. Well, they can find me on Instagram at Leisel, my first name, underscore tailor made underscore broker. That's the fastest way. You can DM me and I'll definitely respond. I check my DMs. Or they can shoot me a text message at 240-760-9192. But Instagram, everybody's on Instagram. I'm also on there.
Yes.
You'll get to see my family. You'll get to see the reels my husband hates being in, but I force him to do it. So,
Amazing.
yeah, but this has been great. I hope, like I said,
Yeah.
guys, I gave the jingle away for free today. 20 contacts a day keeps the bill collectors away. So
Amazing.
please use it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Leisel. This has been amazing. Last 30 minutes went by really fast, but you gave us so much good advice. And I hope that the agents that are listening to it, a lot of people listen to the replay as well,
Yes.
that will actually take this advice and actually implement it into their business. It's so easy to just hear things and
Mhm.
not actually take action on them. But if you start taking action on, I think, pretty simple things, right? Daily habits and routines and follow up, things like
And
that,
time blocking. Don't
yes.
forget time blocking. Yeah.
Yes, that may seem simple, but will actually determine the success of your business.
Yes.
So,
Definitely.
thank you so much for taking us to school today. This has been amazing. We'll,
Yeah.
of course, have you back.
Yeah. I'm
But
always ready. And I hope the agents would love to have me back. So
of course, yes. I mean, all the comments were like, they love you. So, this is great.
all right. Well, I'm
Um,
here. Reach out to me on Instagram, guys. I'm an
Great.
open book. And
Yeah.
thank you, Haley. And thank you, REDX. And a quick plug, I use REDX for my prospecting tool. I think it's the best out of all of them. Shameless plug for REDX, but I honestly love using your tool. So, and plus
Thank
all the
you.
tips you give. That'd be another subject. Talk about Facebook expired and all that. Girl, y'all
Oh,
changed my
yes.
life with that Facebook expired. But we'll talk. That's another
Oh
conversation.
yeah. Oh yeah. We'll definitely have that. Thank you. Thanks, Liesel, for saying that too. To everybody that's watching, thank you for watching. We will be here same time, same place next week. And until then, have a great rest of your week.
Bye, everyone.